Hi, welcome back to Wild on Wheels. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way. Today we're going to be diving in on this old 98 Jeep Cherokee XJ. I like referring to them as XJs. I'm not really a Jeep guy myself. I'm more of an international guy, but we got this Jeep, so let's dig into it. First things we're going to do is we're going to do a little walk around. Just kind of let you take a look at it and see what we got going on. I'm going to explain everything that I want to do to it, and then we're going to dig in and we're going to start doing on it, because that's what we got going on. So I traded a guy named Michael. He's actually got a Instagram channel. You can go check him out, called Shitbox Creations. I'll drop a link down below in the description. He's a guy who had this vehicle before me, and we swapped. I didn't even know he was an Instagrammer, and he didn't know I was a YouTuber when we made the swap, but we learned pretty quickly and thought it was pretty cool. And so go check out his channel. He's currently got the King Ranchero. You can check out and see what he's doing to it and kind of follow the car. He said he's going to bring it out to duct tape drags next year, and I'm really excited about that. But so he got this Jeep, and it was basically bone stock. And so he's done all the modifications to this Jeep from the ground up. So let's take a look at it. Let's look at it inside, outside. She needs a little TLC. She needs a little love. She was a dedicated trail rig back in the day, you know, and times change, and everybody goes from wanting Jeeps to wanting side-by-sides. And so all of his wheeling buddies had side-by-sides, and he said, man, this thing's just sitting and not getting used. I might as well trade it for something that I want to drive around in, and trade it off to somebody that might take it out and use it. And so, hence the trade. So let's take a look at this bad boy. So if you remember when I was driving it in last week's video, I kind of mentioned it had the death wobbles, right? Well, upon closer inspection, I've determined several reasons why it has a death wobble. First one being this. So if you look closely here, you'll notice that the spring perch right here is angled at like this direction, but then the coil springs here are angled at like this direction. They don't match. And the reason for that is the axle is sitting too far backwards and needs to be moved more to the forwards. And that's because our forelinks here are too short. These are not factory ones, they're aftermarket ones, but these guys up here are factory. The upper ones are factory ones, but these need to be longer. So we have our pinion angle is completely wrong for our front end. You can take a look at that and see right there. That needs some more hangulation. She just barely has any angle to it. We need to fix that. So we got parts to fix that. The second thing, I want you to come over here and check this out right here. This is a very common issue with Jeeps, XJs, when you lift them. This right here on the back side of this plate is where the steering gearbox sits. And you can see right here, these big bolts right here is what holds the steering gearbox on. You can see your pitman arm right here, and you can see it's been welded to this nice gusset plate. Well, I'm going to show you a little something. All right, so I'm going to turn the steering wheel, and I want you to kind of look at the steering gearbox and this kind of general vicinity here. Notice anything? You notice how the wheels literally aren't moving at all? So did you notice how the wheels, the tires weren't moving at all, and you could just see that whole frame flexing in there? Yep, that's common when you get these Jeeps. You get them lifted, and these big tires. The reason for that is these Jeeps here don't have an actual frame. They're a unibody. This right here may look like a frame, right? It has the shapes and things are bolted to it like you would expect frames to be, but look at how thick this is. It's literally sheet metal that's been hydroformed into a shape and tack welded together. It's not even actually fully welded. It's literally spot welded. It's just they're not strong enough really to handle tires of this size. So you get big tires on here and you start off-roading with them, and the steering gearbox just destroys your frame assembly here, and it cracks, and you can actually see crackage all the way down here, underneath here, you know. And it's been attempted to be fixed, but we're going to need more fixing. So what I'm going to end up doing is I have a CNC plasma cutter, so we're going to put it to use. Gusset plates for here, for the underneath side of here, for the back side. We're going to get this thing reinforced and get the frame flexed back into the position it's supposed to be in, weld it into place, reinforce it, gusset it, so that way the steering gearbox doesn't break the frame again in the future. Also, that's your number one cause of death wobble. That, and then your caster is completely off because the axle is now shifted backwards, which puts your caster off. That causes death wobble. So we have two big death wobble issues that are, you know, so now you have wicked death wobble. Off-road, going 25 miles an hour, you probably won't notice any of this. It's just going to be sitting in here flexing and banging around on its own. But you try to get this thing up on the highway, you're taking your life in your hands. So, surprised we made it. God was looking out for me, that's for sure. We made it here. We didn't die. So that's the first thing we're going to be looking at is the steering suspension, the front end here. The second thing, you notice, all the windows are down, and that's because I think that window's off the track. I think this window is not, because it's right there, I can see it. That window doesn't appear to be off the track. This window kind of rolls up. You got to really, you know, encourage it, but then it doesn't want to go back down. And so we don't want to break it before we can fix it. So none of the windows work. They don't roll up, and that's okay. It happens. Also, if you try to open the door from the outside, it won't open. You got to pop her from the inside. I think we just need a little WD-40 or some adjusting because it's very stiff. She was definitely used for an off-road rig. Okay, so you know she's got some dirt and mud in there. We just got to clean it out. I'm sure we can get that working. But look at the interior on this thing, guys. This rear seat's perfect, in perfect condition. It's got our nice under seat storage. Just needs a quick little vacuum and clean out, and she'll be fine. The headliner's a little rough. So I need you guys to tell me. I went to the junkyard and I picked up a headliner out of a junkyard Jeep. It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Not a single rip or cut or tear. It's not sagging. It's got the original radio speakers in it. Like, it's really nice. The only downfall is it's tan. It's not gray. And so it's not going to match the interior. But let me know. We can do one of two things. We can either take this headliner, pull it out, recover it, and I can show you how to do that. It's really cheap and it's actually really easy. It's just a little bit time consuming, not crazy time consuming, just a little bit. And then put this headliner back in, looking all nice and new and brand new, and we can recover those guys. I'll show you how to do that. That's also really easy. Or we can put the tan one in, you know, just for the quicknesses of it, just put it in. Or we can take the nice tan one and we can recover it in gray and then put that one in. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Drop it down in the comments what we should do with the headliner. Let's move around to the back. We got our gas cap. She's working nicely. We got the sweet roof rack up here. It's a little bit rusty. We'll look at it on the other side. We're not staring at the sun. I picked up a free ratchet strap because this was ratchet strapped closed. I can see this guy right here was but if we look right here, we're missing all the goodies inside and out. So if you know anybody that has this plastic, or you have this plastic, preferably in gray, let me know. I need all of this. I did a little Googling. Actually, I didn't. I just did a little thinking. Dodge and Jeep, owned by Chrysler. What if a Dodge Durango door latch, handle, and linkage mechanisms all fit in a Jeep? Is that even a thing? I'll tell you it is. I tested it. Now, we do need to do a little work to this, guys. You can see this is bent. mushroomed out a little bit, a little chingered. So we're going to need to do a little cleaning up on this metal here. This guy's a little warpaged, you know. We're going to need to straighten up on those guys a little bit. We got a little bit of a dent right here. I think we can pop that guy out. This side's pretty good over here, but nothing that can't be fixed. We'll get that situated. Also, I need this piece. The one Jeep that was in the junkyard is red, and somebody had already taken the hatch off of it, unfortunately. So this side over here, we've already got some Arizona pinstriping on it, just the way you want it to be. Here's the roof rack. As you can see up here, this is beautiful patina going on with the roof rack here. I think we're gonna fix that up. You know, a little rebuild. We got some sweet whips going on back here. They actually light up. Pretty cool looking. And we are missing the glove box. Glove box was deleted. He was saying it wasn't staying closed, it wasn't latching or something like that, so we just took it out. So we're gonna have to work on that. That switch is broken for the passenger side, so I think that's why the passenger window won't roll up. But as you can see, this door opens and closes pretty nicely. Mirrors. Here's this side. Let's take a look underneath the hood. There she is. The high output 6-cylinder engine with the 5-speed manual transmission. Looking at it, everything looks to be here. This guy needs a little, we're gonna need a new one of those. But all in all, I'm not seeing any, you know, catastrophic engine oil leaks. We got our master cylinder up here. She looks pretty good. We got our slave master cylinder for our clutch over here. Might be a touch low. We can top that off a little bit, but I'm not seeing any leaks per se. Power steering pump. The belt looks so-so. The water pump, I'm not seeing any leaks. Yep, she's full of coolant. It looks like water. Probably should drain that, because it gets cold enough around here that could crack the block. Probably end up just pulling the lower radiator hose, draining that out. Get some coolant in there so it doesn't freeze and potentially crack the block. All in all, she looks pretty solid. Got her heater hoses are up here. Those don't look like they're leaking. It's definitely a little bit dirty, but she's been spending most of her life out on the rig, on the trail, so, you know, kind of expect that. We got some fuses going on here. We do have a master switch right here for the ground. Make sure the battery doesn't die. We've also got some wiring. The wiring needs a little bit of attention. That guy right there's cut through. We got some melty wires going on here and there. You know, we'll dig into that. We'll dig into the wiring. We'll get that sorted out. So we'll definitely dig into that. And that's one of the things I actually wanted to get to. I want to show you all the parts I got for this bad boy and what we're going to be doing and digging into it with. This is going to be the first proper introduction, I guess, if you will, to the old Dodge D100. Just picked this bad boy up, and my intention was to sell the King Ranchero, take the money from the King Ranchero to put into this bad boy and get this bad boy back on the road. But we ended up making a trade for the Jeep, and that's okay. We'll get the Jeep on the road, we'll get it running, driving, make it safe to drive, and then we'll get that sold and take the money from that, put that into the Dodge. So let me show you what I got. So I did go to the junkyard, and I did find one Jeep. It was a 1999 Jeep Cherokee, and it was tan and red. And so all the parts I have for it are tan, unfortunately. We got a dome light for the front, the dome light for the rear. We got a new glove box, tan. Now they do make color match paint, so I think that's probably what I'm going to be doing. Color match, we can make that work. Door handle for the back, for the hatch. I also got the latch mechanism for the tailgate. So when I was looking online to try to find this guy and this guy, you can pick these up for about 15 bucks online, but they're kind of terrible. Everybody complains about this little tab right here breaking, and that's the tab that you use in order to open. Like if that tab breaks, you can't open it. So that's what everybody complains about. We want to go with an factory one. You can see it is old, but it's a factory one. It'll last a lot longer. But when I was looking at these online for the Jeep, I noticed, wow, that looks exactly like the ones that's on a Dodge Durango from the same time period. I wonder if it'll fit along with the latch mechanism, because it also looks identical to the one that's in the Jeep at the same time period. And I was able to get the hardware because I bought this separately. This is like 30 bucks online, and then you had to pay $5 a piece for the bolts for it. And so you're gonna end up being 40 bucks or 45 bucks into this latch. I think I paid like 10 bucks at the junkyard for it. And then we've got our rod to connect the two. Now this is obviously gonna be way too long and it's bent in the wrong shape, but that's okay. That's easy. We can fix that. We can cut this, weld it back together, make it the correct length, give it the little bends, whatever it needs. I did off camera. Just do a quick, like, is this gonna fit? Yes, this fits perfectly. Also, this fits perfectly. The bolt holes line up. This actually latches with the striker down at the bottom, latches, releases, it does the whole 9 yards. So these parts will fit. So if you have a Jeep Cherokee, the newer style that uses this style of latch mechanism, the Dodge Durangos also fit. Which, if you think about it from a business standpoint, that really makes the most sense. Why would you have a separate lock and latch mechanism for every single vehicle you produce? Why not just create one lock and latch mechanism and then just fit it on all of your vehicles? Went ahead and picked up a new steering wheel. This one, yes, it is used. It's a little bit older, but the leather on it is all there. The leather of the steering wheel on this one was obviously peeling and whatnot, and so Michael cut it back so you're not annoying, you know. But this one's in pretty good shape, so we're gonna go ahead and pop that steering wheel on. So I got the headliner, glove box, dome lights, latches, steering wheels, the whole 9 yards, everything I robbed off of that Jeep. And I ended up with a handful of hardware for, you know, the panels and trim pieces and stuff that's just missing, little screws and nuts and whatnot here and there. I got all of that. And I'm in at like 60 bucks. So junkyards are the best. Now I might have to go buy like a $10 can of spray paint to paint all of these gray to make a match. But then again, if I leave the tan headliner in, we probably won't paint these guys. Definitely paint that guy. Okay, so the other thing we got here, we have both the front window regulators, both the rear window regulators, and I went ahead and spent the money, all $5 of it, on new toggle switches. These guys right here for the back doors, for the power windows. You're gonna be in there changing the window regulator out, just spend the $5, get you a new switch, and then that way you don't go, I just put this window regulator in, it still doesn't work. Just get the switch. Also, I went ahead and got these guys right here. The front switch. This was $15, and it's got the power mirror, you know, doodobs and right. I also got the one for passenger side, and we know the passenger side is straight up broken, like you can't even move it. And the window regulator might work on the passenger side, but we got the parts. We're replacing it. They're also really cheap. I think it was like $40 a piece for those window regulators, so they're really inexpensive. So we're just going to go ahead and change them out. These guys right here, what we're going to use to fix the front suspension. Well, at least part of the front suspension. We need to make plates and gussets and supports for the frame to fix that part of it. But this right here is our upper and lower 4-link bars, and these are fully adjustable. So we'll be able to get that axle and actually get it positioned back to where it should be to make sure we get our pinion angle correct and get our caster back into the position it's supposed to be in. So it'll keep it from, well, this will fully eliminate one source of the death wobble. And once we fix the frame, we'll eliminate a second source of the death wobble. But there is a third, and we'll have to dig into that. And I'll show you the third once we kind of get more into that. And we'll go ahead and fix that as well. You can lift these XJs and not have death wobble. It's easy to do. You just have to do the right thing with the right parts. Now, I will say, this brand, never heard of them before. Max Peating Rods. Max Peating Rods. Your gateway to performance driving. I don't know. These were quite literally the cheapest ones I could find on the internet. If you go purchase reputable parts, you're not always getting a higher quality or higher performance part. And this is something a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people feel like if I spend more money on something, that equals a higher quality or better performance part. No, 9 times out of 10, you're just paying for the brand. This brand right here has absolutely no advertising. I've never even heard of this brand before. But let's say Rough Country over here, well, you hear about them all the time. You go search lift kits and there's ads and there's stickers and there's stuff all over the place. And they sponsor YouTubers and they sponsor professionals and they got a trophy truck and they got, you know what I'm saying? So when you're spending the $1,000, $1,500 for this lift kit, a vast portion of that money that you spend on the lift kit is going towards their trophy truck. It's going towards their ad campaigns. It's going towards the sponsors. Is going to pay that. It's not going into higher quality parts. You can get the same quality parts for a fraction of the cost just by doing some searching around. Now you're going to need to actually put a little bit of time and effort into verifying that these parts are the same quality as a name brand part, but generally speaking, it's not too difficult. So that's why I went with these guys. I looked up with the Rough Country suspension lift, and Rough Country supplies one size of 4-link rod for their 2-inch to 4-inch lift kits, and then a separate one for the 4 to 6-inch lift kits. Well, from going from factory to a 4-inch lift is a big difference. Going from a factory to a 2-inch lift is not that big of a difference. You have to have a different length 4-link rods when you're going to go from a 2 to a 4. You just have to. But in order to save money, Rough Country just makes one, and it's supposed to just fit everything. Now your angles are going to be off, and this is why everybody always complains about lifting XJs and then having bump steer or having death wobble. Well, it's because your 4-link rods aren't the right length, but you don't know that because you just bolted the kit on the way you were told to, and it didn't work. You need these. You definitely need these. If I got Rough Country adjustable 4-links, which you can get, they were like $500 or $600 for the kit. This guy right here, $150 delivered. You can find these parts less expensive. You don't have to spend the thousands of dollars for the high-end parts. You can get good parts cheap. Just do some research, and don't get caught up with the name brand or the knot, right? Okay, so we got to update the wiring on this. She needs a little TLC, she needs a little love, and she needs a little update on the digicals, the electro digicals. So what I did is I went on to Amazon and I got these bad boys. These are Deutsch DT style electrical connectors. These are the top of the line. You want to know what electrical connectors Ferrari uses, Lamborghini uses, Caterpillar, high-end name brand manufacturers use? They use Deutsch connectors. Why? They're simple. They're easily repairable. They don't require any special tools. Well, one special tool. You need to have a crimper. That's it. And the crimper is actually pretty cheap. And you can make, repair, fix any wire on any harness, piece of cake. And this guy right here, this kit, it comes with 2-pin, 3-pin, 4-pin, 6-pin, 8-pin, and 12-pin connectors, along with all of the pins and sockets you're going to need to be able to use all of these. I think I paid $30 for that. I bought an entire box of extra pins and sockets just in case we need those. And I think I paid like $5 for that. And then here's an entire box of just 2-pin male and female connectors. This thing right here, I think was like $20 for this, but it comes with like, I don't know, a bunch of them, like 15 or 20 of them. And this is mainly what we're going to be using inside the Jeep, because each one of those lights up there is just a 2-wire. And so we're going to be using a lot of these. That's why I went ahead and picked that up. But then we also still have some 12 pins and 8 pins and 6 pins and 4 pins that we can use for other connectors throughout the Jeep. These are very water resistant, like much higher water resistance than even most factory electrical connectors that you would find on your Ford, Chevy, Dodge, Kias, Hondas. Much better. That's why the high-end companies use them. Now, are these actual Deutsch connectors? No, they're not. They're Alfaki. But they're identical. They're knockoff. We can't afford the real ones. The real ones are like, for a real one, for a 6-pin connector, just for the male and the female side of it, you're going to be $25, $30 just for 2 pieces, and that doesn't include the pins and sockets. And the real ones, the real Deutsch ones, are $1.50 a piece. So you're gonna need 6 males and 6 females, so you need a total of 12 at $1.50 a piece. You know, you're 20 bucks into pins and sockets, and another 20, you'd be like 50 bucks into one connector. So these ones are nice alternatives. These are nice knockoffs. They're high quality. I've used them before. They work great. You can use the Deutsch crimping tool, and everything works perfectly. So we got that. That's gonna be a nice upgrade to the wiring. And in addition to that, we're gonna be updating the wires itself. We're actually gonna be going through and replacing a lot of the wiring with some nice new wire. Okay, so in addition to just replacing all of the connectors and replacing the wiring with something a little more modern, I decided we need to go ahead and just bring this sucker right into the 21st century. Check this guy out. Switch panels. How freaking cool are these? I got this six position switch panel, so it comes with 6 options. And this is the coolest part about the entire thing. Right here, solid state relays. It's got fuses built in. It's got these little lights that'll kick on if you trip one of the fuses. And you've got 6 options right here. It's got nice big positive and ground lugs. It's got the connectors that'll plug into our little panel here. It comes with a wiring. It also even comes with, check this out, a nice 60 amp circuit breaker with a little dust shield. This thing is pretty stinking sweet, I'm not gonna lie. Comes with, you can either put a sticky pad on the back of this and stick it to something, or it comes with actual mounting, like nice powder coated steel mounts. So you can bolt this bad boy on somewhere in the cab. I'm pretty excited about that. It comes with all the wiring you're gonna need, minus the actual load wires. So it comes with everything you're gonna need to wire this thing directly from your vehicle into this panel. All you're gonna need to supply is all the wires going from the panel to your lights or to whatever you have going on. This thing right here is gonna be super sweet, and I think it's gonna be a nice upgrade from toggle switches, right? Back in the day, toggle switches was how you did things. That was your option. Well, nowadays we got something a little cooler. The other thing that's pretty cool about this is it comes with these little stickers, and these stickers is what you're gonna put on your buttons right here, and it comes with all kinds of different options. You can put, you know, hood light, bumper light, rack lights, fog lights, low beams, roof lights, winches, heaters, fans, whatever you're doing, you can change out the stickers. So you can just at a glance be like, oh, I want the front bumper light on, off. Pretty dang cool. Now, you might look at this and go, you know, I just don't got the resources to do something like that. This kit right here, you'd be shocked. It's $100. Yeah, $100, and you could have yourself this sweet little switch panel that works like this. You can adjust this. You can change it to make it momentary. You could even hook your starter up to this. Let's say you get a project, and you could have this for a starter for your dome lights, your dash lights, your running lights, your blinkers. You could do all of that with this kit without any extra cost. I thought this was gonna be absolutely perfect. But we got one more little trick up our sleeve that's, I think, really gonna make this project just pop. All right, what's the one thing you absolutely love about your newer vehicle? Apple CarPlay. Boom, check this bad boy out. This is a single DIN with a double DIN display, Apple CarPlay or Android CarPlay, all built into one. It's got a little remote, which is kind of weird, but then it also has steering wheel controls. You can mount this bad boy onto your steering wheel. You can answer your phone call. You can change your whatever, and it just automatically pairs to your phone. And so you can set up directions, and now you have a nice big screen, tells you where you're going. You can listen to your music. You can Bluetooth. There's Bluetooth directly to it, so you don't have to worry about cables and connecting stuff. It just Bluetooths right to it, and boom, now you got Apple CarPlay. You know how much this guy was? $50. Yeah, $50. Go put Apple CarPlay in your car. It's $50. Plugs right in. I'm pretty excited about that. We're gonna be setting this bad boy up in there too, because, I mean, come on, who doesn't want Apple CarPlay in their rig? All right, so these are all the accoutrements that we got. So I think the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and jump in and start working on these window regulators. I want to get these windows rolling up and down, so that way when it rains, it stops raining inside the Jeep. Then we can move on to the next thing. All right, so we're going to dive headlong into this bad boy. Get this window regulator replaced. There's a good chance it's just the toggle switch right here is bad. It'll go down, but it won't go up. I got a new one of them. I'm not going to go into super detail about how to do this. I actually just made an entire video doing the front and the rear, which the fronts are actually a piece of cake. The rears are kind of a pain in the butt. So if you want to see like, hey, I got a Jeep Cherokee and I need to figure out how to get the window regulators replaced, go watch that video. I'll put a link to it down in the description down below. So if you've watched this video in 7 years and you're still wondering, you can go check that out. But I'm just going to time lapse this. We're just going to jam through it. So yeah. Today's Bible verse, Matthew chapter 4, verses 18 through 22. One day, as Jesus was walking along the shore of the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon, also called Peter, and Andrew, throwing a net into the water, for they fished for a living. Jesus called out to them, "Come, follow me, and I will show you how to fish for people." And they left their nets at once and followed him. A little further up the shore, he saw two other brothers, James and John, sitting in a boat with their father Zebedee, repairing their nets, and he called them to come too. They immediately followed him, leaving the boat and their father behind. That took like 20 minutes. It's gonna be dark in like 7 minutes. I guess we can get started on this back one. Problem is it needs more than just the window regulator. The windows cattywampus off to the side, and we gotta fix the exterior door latch. Because you can't open the door from the outside. You gotta buy those little plastic clippies, you know, those little guys. Cost like $10 a piece. I had to replace one on that door, and now one on this door. For like $30 just in plastic clippies. So I think we're gonna get started on that one tomorrow. But we've got 3 of the 4 windows rolled up now, which is freaking awesome. That means we're like 75% waterproof. That's the way I like it. All right, we'll be back tomorrow in the daylights, and we'll get that guy jammed in there, and then I don't know, I kind of want to get started on the wiring. It's probably the first place we're going to start. I'm going to get lights out here. Let's get the windows fixed. I'll probably pull it up next to the shop so we can at least get some lights out here. We'll work on the rear. See if we can't get the rear latch, the tailgate, to open and close with the latch. That's going to take a little massaging, a little work. And then just having windows that roll up and down, a latch that's going to, you know, open and close properly. This is going to make this thing feel 1,000 times better. Once we get a nice hood headliner in here, glove box in here, clean it. It just needs a detail job, like wicked detail job. It's gonna make it look nice. And then all we gotta do is just make sure we got some blinkers and some brake lights and get the front end fixed so it's not weeble wobbling all over the place, and immediately throw this thing up on Facebook Marketplace and try to get it sold. We got that 65 Dodge. It's literally sitting right behind you. We gotta get that thing back on the road, and I need a few bucks. So we gotta start selling stuff and quit trading stuff. That's okay. All right, we'll be back tomorrow when there's more daylights out here, and we'll do this guy. See ya. All right, check this out. All the doors open and close from the outside. This has actually took quite a bit of work to do. The linkages in there, the little plastic clips were broken, and so you push on the door and it wasn't actually doing anything, and stuff was tweaked and bent and whatnot. But all the windows are rolled up, all the doors open and closed from the outside, so that is a huge win. The last thing we got to do is we got to be able to open this guy from the outside, and not have to hold this closed with a ratchet strap. That'd be ideal. Now, looking at this closely here, we can see this is bent in, this is bent in, this is bent in, this is bent out, right? And when we take our latch here and we go to stick this bad boy in here, you can see it doesn't fit in their square. It doesn't sit in their square, mainly because I'm assuming whoever had this door had some issues getting it unlatched, and there was pry bars, there's all kinds of goodies trying to get that thing to work. So we need to fix all of that so this can fit squarely in there. I've got hammers and punches and pry bars, and we're just going to start hammering on it until we can get this squared away and get that latch in there. Then we're going to work on the outside. This is also dented. We got a big dent in the back here, which is causing this side to sit a little funky. So we'll be popping that out, getting that to look good, getting this all squared away so the handle will sit nicely on the outside. So let's dive into that. So if you were wondering, yes, Dodge Durango parts do fit. Let's see if it closes. Oh, look at that. All right, perfect. The latch is working. I mean, could it be nicer? Yes. Does it work? Yes. So therefore, it's good enough. Okay, let's get this dent right here popped out. We can just, kind of pop this out like that. This little guy right here. Oh, we got visitors. We're gonna do some paintless dent repair. Oh yeah, that makes it look a little bit more gooder. Yeah. You didn't know I was a body guy, did you? Let's look at this guy here. This needs a little massage. Okay. So there's that. This needs to go down. Much better. better. Maybe. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Okay, so is the Dodge Durango one where the corners may be rounded? Possibly. Does it fit? It does. And now, all we've got to do is make the rod connect from there to there. And we have a working latch. I mean, if it works, is it a dumb idea? I don't think so. Mainly, this rod's gonna be too long. The reason for that being is on the Dodge Durango, the door handle, as you can see, this latch and door handle are actually really close together. On the Durango, the door handle's up a little bit higher, and so the rod's gonna be too long off the Durango. But I think we can make it work. Oh, I don't think we're gonna make it work. We're gonna make it work. All right, so if you take a look at this, this is the rod. This is where it's gonna attach to the mechanism, the latch mechanism down there. But if you look at the top here, see right here, it's not spiraled. That's not like a thread. It's just these little grooves. And they're designed to go into this clip right here specifically. So you can't use this clip to attach to this rod without these guys. So once we figure out how long this rod needs to be, I'm gonna have to physically cut the rod and remove an inch, 2 inches, inch and a half, whatever, out of the rod, then weld it back together so I can keep this little ridged piece right here to be able to clip it into the door handle. And then it'll work. All right, I straightened out the rod, and now, oh yeah, it's gonna need to be way shorter. Okay, so I'm gonna take this Sharpie, I'm gonna mark, yeah, right there. And then I'm gonna show you what I came up with. Okay, so with this rod installed into the latch down on the bottom, and where this was sitting, this is where the rod was sitting like this. See how I measured the top and the bottom of this little clip? So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this, and then I know this piece up here needs to fit inside of this little slot right here. Okay, so looking at the rod here, about 3.5 inches at the very top. So we need the very tip of this ribbed section, the very top of it needs to be sitting right about here. I'm gonna chop it here, and then we'll bring this piece over, lay it back up against here, set the top of it right here, mark where the two are at, chop it, weld it together. All right, so we put this piece like so, and then this guy, see, I want the top of him to be right at that 3.5 inch mark ish, you know what I'm saying? There's a little bit of wiggle room there. Then where these two meet is somewhere right around here, so that's where we're going to cut this piece. All right, look at that, fellas. We got it ground down. It's close enough. Now I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grind a chamfer on both of those on one side. We'll weld it. Then I'll kind of hollow it out on the opposite side. We'll weld it. We'll grind her down smooth, and that way if we need to hammer it to kind of straighten it out a little bit, we can. And she's ready to install. All right, so I do have a little bevel. You can kind of really see that on there. And I'm gonna do my best to square these bad dudes up. Nice little tack. There's a little bit of a bend to it, but I think we can, I think we'll be okay. Nice and tight. Oh, that's already stiff. Okay, it's a little bit straighter. It's gonna happen when you weld it, and I'm not too worried about it. So I only beveled one side. I didn't bevel the other side because I can still get the wire down halfway in between. We'll just give this a tack or two, fill that in, grind it down smootherish. Maybe not, we might just leave it. And we're ready to throw it in there. That looks pretty good right there. And the other thing is you have to remember this is going to be under tension. It's not going to be like, there's not going to be any side loading. It's literally just going to pull up on this every time you go to open the door. And there's not a lot of force on it. So I think, in all honesty, I think that's going to hold up just fine. Might give her a couple love taps to straighten it out. Also, I might not. I think that looks pretty good. Now, we got our little custom homemade rod here. All right, way too short. It's like way too short. All right, well, you guys caught it. I did not. And yes, it was a full inch too short. So, went out there and we added an inch. So let's try this again for the 97th time. That's fine. Ooh. Oh, okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Here we go. We're gonna try it. Okay. Look at that. Look at that. It's nice and firmly. And it doesn't open. Is that enough preload? So let's give that a shot. Let's see. Yes. Yes. Okay, perfect. It's not gonna move. Okay, sweet. All right, well, let's try it. Let's try it out. Okay, it's closed. Oh, look at that. It's secured and it opens. Okay, well, that's gonna do it for tonight. I mean, it latches nicely. That was the other thing, is like, who knows, you know. I mean, it closes nice and tight. Yeah, I think that's a score. You can get Durango parts fit on your Jeep. I don't know if there's going to be some Jeep guys out there, they're gonna be mad. Ugh. All right, stage one of getting this Jeep, making it into something respectable once again, is complete. We got all the windows roll up and down nicely. We got the back, we got the tailgate opens and closes with the door from the handle from the outside. So we're making good progress. The next big step, the next big hurdle is going to be to address the wiring on this. We got to get all the lights working. We got to get their little, our fancy little switch. We got to get the radio hooked up and all that kind of cool stuff. But this wiring, it's electrical. Nobody likes watching videos about that. So I'm probably not going to show much of that. I'll just kind of show you, hey, look, I got it hooked up and it's fancy. So with that being said, that's going to do it for this week. Stay tuned. Next week, I'm going to go through and show you guys a detailed step-by-step how to replace the window regulators on your Jeep if you have them. I didn't notice very many people out there with good YouTube videos that were actually detailed and gave you a step-by-step. So if you've never done it before, so check that out for next week. And while that video is doing its thing, I'm going to be doing the wiring. We're going to be gutting it. I might catch a little bit of video here and there of it, but I'll probably just do it, right? And I'll show you the finished product. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you can see more of this Jeep. Getting it all fixed up. See you guys next week. Thanks, and have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful week.